The hottest local congressional race is in the 12th district. That's Pat Tiberi's old seat. There are 6 Democrats and 9 Republicans running in their primaries. Most of the action appears on the Republican side with the 4 leading candidates, State Senators Kevin Bacon and Troy Balderson, Liberty Township trustee Melanie Lenahan, and Delaware County prosecutor Carol O'Brien. Terry Casey, how is this race going to shake out?
Well, basically, from what I'm hearing, it's down to a 2-person race between Melanie and Troy Balderson. As far as those are the 2 main people, they've got the most on TV. They've also got people attacking and counterattacking. So the other people are really fighting for who's in 3rd place. The battle is between 1 and 2, who's going to finish first. And one of the interesting questions is, how does the Pat Tiberi endorsement affect things? Because a lot of what this battle is about is who's in or from the swamp, who's the establishment. There's all these battles, including Club for Growth that was against Trump is now attacking Balderson for not being for Trump. So there's all kind of twists and turns.
I think it's a barometer of the whole country, honestly, that Republican primary, because you're looking at, here's Tiberi, who's been in there for decades almost, and you know, he's given his endorsement to, people must assume, the more moderate of the 2, and then the other candidate is saying, I'm Trump, I'm all in, and it's really, you know, it's a bellwether within the bellwether of Ohio of how are Republicans going to parse this whole thing on Tuesday.
But Jackie, it's just not a 2-person race, though. I mean, Kevin Bacon will get some votes.
Right.
He's a sitting state senator, suburban Columbus, Westerville area. Carol O'Brien, sitting prosecutor. They're not going to be just at 5%, and that split vote could lead to something.
That's exactly a concern that I've heard from several Republicans, that they could split what's seen as the mainstream Republican, establishment Republican vote, and that would push Lenahan ahead. And there is some concern that her being the more conservative, more Trumpian candidate could really hurt them in the general. As this is a race that people are looking at from across the country. There's a huge national interest in it, as it might be, a blue wave district, something that might, it might add momentum to the national effort to flip districts, and that's concerning to some Republicans.
How far to the right is Melanie Lenahan? I mean, she's not. I mean, she's got the Jim Jordan support, so she has to be pretty far out there. But is she like a Roy Moore, far out there that really would make the Republicans vulnerable?
Well, I don't think she's had any sexual harassment problems. I got to defend her on that. But she's so far out. When Kevin Bacon did an ad saying he's the most conservative of all the candidates, I asked him, how could you be any more to the edge of the flat earth than that? I mean, she's ultra conservative, and she'll also allude, and she's told people that God has told her to run and a few other things like that. So there's no doubt she's real conservative. I heard her at one of the debates. She almost was for totally abolishing government till some people said, don't we need a military and don't we need roads? I mean, she is rock rib conservative. The question is, how far do people want to go?
Yeah. As Jackie said, many Democrats are wishing her success on Election Day because they really do believe, as Terry just said, she is so far to the right that when you get to a general election electorate, either Democrat, who either the sheriff or the county officer, either one could beat her, assuming that it's a reasonably decent Democratic year.
So remind people you got to vote twice in that 12th district for the one that goes on to the August runoff for the rest of this term. And then you've got to vote again for the person nominated to run in November for the next 2 years. So
let's get to that Democratic side. It's less crowded, and 2 candidates, as Herb mentioned, have emerged as frontrunners: Franklin County Recorder Danny O'Connor and former Franklin County Sheriff Zach Scott. Herb, is this Danny O'Connor's race to lose? He's the one who seems to have the most money. Franklin County likes him.
Yeah, he has the money, the institutional support. In part, he's running because the Franklin County Democratic Party doesn't like Zach Scott, so they really push Danny into the race. But I think what's clear here right now, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter which candidate wins, but the party's going to be united. I've talked to many Democrats who perhaps Zach Scott is not their first choice, but in fact, if he wins the primary, they're going to be supporting him, especially if Melanie Linehan is the Republican nominee, and they see that this is a seat they can actually pick up.
And remember, this district is much bigger than just Franklin County, because in at least the Republican vote, Franklin County's I think like 28% of the vote, Delaware's 32, Licking County's 26. So the geography, it's a big, diverse geography.
So Zach Scott, is he focusing on those two counties and sort of writing off, or at least just not worrying as much about Franklin County?
I think if they are fighting in this county, then they are forgetting that there's a huge rural component to this, and what, 6 or 8 candidates still in that primary?
And a law and order sheriff, you'd think would do better in a rural area.
Right.
If he, Zach Scott with his uniform on and his campaign ads and things like that.
What some people are forgetting, I mean, obviously, it was a district drawn to be favorable to the Republicans, but that district was also favorable to Pat Tiberi. And what happens with a good incumbent is that incumbent builds a personal constituency. So you can't simply go back and look at, oh, what's Pat's margins? That district is not that Republican. And of course, in the past, the Democrats never even challenged Pat because he was so popular. So I think the Democrats are not being delusional to think that they can pick this seat up, especially if the Republicans go so far to the right.
Well, the national indexes have said it's a toss-up or slightly leaning
In
Republican.
a normal year, it's about a +7 Republican, and of course, this year might not be a normal year.